Today's topic of discussion is effect of salinity stress on plants and its tolerance strategies. Uh, Stress is defined as any external biotic or abiotic factor that limits the rate of photosynthesis and reduces plants' ability to convert energy to biomass. We can see that abiotic factors can be salinity, high temperature, waterlogging stress, water scarcity, heavy metals, and biotic factors include herbivore attack, pathogen attack, and some viral or bacterial attack. They are also included in biotic factors. World agriculture is facing a lot of challenges like producing 70% more food for the growing population, and the productivity of crops is not increasing in parallel with the food demand. Uh, the next is the lower productivity in most of the cases is attributed to various abiotic factors. According to an estimate, the world human population will become nearly double in 2050. So the demand of the food will be many folds higher in coming years, and this puts a tremendous amount of pressure on our existing and poorly performing agriculture system. Curtailing crop losses due to various environmental stresses is the major area of concern to catch up with the increasing food requirements. The major abiotic stresses faced by the plants, because the plants they are growing in the net, they are sessile in nature, and they have to undergo certain modifications in their structure to cope with the prevailing environmental stresses. Uh, Being sessile in nature, they cannot change their position. Therefore, they have to undergo some structural modifications that enable them to at least tolerate or prolong their survival until the end of the abiotic stress. So, existing are the plants growing under natural environmental conditions. They face several abiotic factors. These abiotic factors include salinity, drought, cold, heat, and these factors negatively influence the plant survival, their biomass production, and yield of the staple food crops up to 70%. We know that human diet is directly or directly dependent upon the plants, and we are also aware of the fact that plants they occupy the central position in the ecosystem, because in ecosystem there are different trophic levels or the energy levels. In these trophic levels, plants are the primary producers, are they are categorized as the first trophic level because they are primary producers, and they are able to convert the solar energy into chemical energy, and these are the only organisms in the ecosystem that are able to perform such duties, and they provide this energy converted from solar to chemical, and they pass on this energy to other trophic levels or other living organisms of the ecosystem. It has been shown that soil salinity subsisted long before humans and agriculture. If we compare abiotic stresses, one of the major abiotic stresses that is severely affecting the plant growth and productivity is the increasing level of the soil salinization, and this soil salinization occurs due to the buildup of the toxic salts in the soil surface. These toxic salts include sodium chloride, but this is not limited to only sodium and chloride. The soils can be saline due to the accumulation of any type of the salts above the threshold level. Means if it is a nutrient, but if it is present in the soil more than the need of the plant, it becomes the salinity for the plants, and it bears the toxic effects for the plants. So this is known as the salt stress. Based on the plant's ability to tolerate salinity or to grow under the saline condition, plants can be categorized into two different groups. First one is the glycophytes, and the second one is the halophytes. Most of the crop plants, they fall in the category of the glycophytes. Glycophytes are the plants that are unable, or they are sensitive to salinity stress. And the halophytes are the plants which are able to tolerate high level of the salinity in their growth medium. It has been shown that soil salinity subsisted long before human and agriculture. However, the problem of the soil salinity is worsened over the few decades, mainly due to the anthropogenic activities that includes poor availability of poor irrigation water. Salt stress is one of the most serious limiting factors for the crop growth and production. We can based on the on the nature characteristics and plant growth relationship in salt affected soil, two main types of the soils have been categorized. One is the saline soil. These are the soils are the saline soils. They are mainly saline due to the presence of the neutral salts. These neutral salts include sodium chloride, sodium sulfate, and sometimes also types and causes of salinity. There are two main types of the salinity. First one is natural or primary salinity, which is this is the salinity that is created by the natural events. The second one is the second one is the first one is natural or primary salinity, and second one is secondary or human induced salinity. Primary salinity results from the accumulation of salts over long periods of time through natural processes in soil or groundwater. This primary salinity or this salinity is caused by the natural events, and it includes two natural processes. The first one is the weathering of the parent materials, and this parent material contains soluble salts. Weathering processes break down the rocks and release soluble salts of various types. Mainly, these are rich in chloride, sodium, calcium, magnesium, and to lesser extent sulfate and carbonate. Sodium chloride is the most common soluble salt. The second is the deposition of oceanic salt carried in wind and rain. Cyclic salts are ocean salts carried inland by wind and deposited by the rainfall and are mainly sodium chloride. Secondary or human-induced salinity. Secondary salinization results from human activities that change the hydrological balance of the soil between water applied, irrigation or rainfall, and water used by the crops. The most common causes are land clearing and the replacement of perennial vegetation with annual crops, and irrigation schemes using salt-rich irrigation water or having insufficient drainage. According to the FAO, Land and Plant Nutrition Management Services, over 60% of the world's land is affected by salinity. If we see of the current 230 million hectares of irrigated land, 45 million hectares is salt affected, that makes 19.5%. And of 15 million hectares under dry land agriculture, 32 millions are salt affected to varying degrees, that makes it 2.1%. If we see that global estimates of secondary salinization, this is the salinization which is caused by the human activities. We can see that in China, total land area, cropped land area is 97 million hectare. Area irrigated is 45 million hectares, and area irrigated land that is salt affected, it is 6.7 million hectare, and it is nearly 15%. So in China, total cultivated or cropped area is 97 million hectare. Total irrigated area is 46%, and of this 46%, nearly 15% is saline, which is 6.7 million hectares. In India, 169 million hectare area is under cultivation, and 42 million hectare is irrigated area, and this makes 25% of the total cultivated area. And of 42.7 million hectare land is affected by this salinity, and it is 17%. In Soviet Union, 233 is total cropped area, 233 million hectare, and area irrigated area is to only 21, and it makes 9%. And 3.7 million hectare area is affected by the salinity, and it makes 18% of the total area. In United States, total area cropped area is now 190 million hectares, and irrigated land is 18 million hectares, and it makes 10% of the total cropped area, which is irrigated area or irrigated land. and 4.2% is million hectare is saline, and it is nearly 23%. In Pakistan, only 21 million hectare area is under cultivation or cropped area. Of this 21 cropped area, 16 million hectare area is irrigated land, and it makes 78%. Means we are relying on irrigated land resources. And next is for our 4.2% is affected by the salinity, and it makes 26% of our arable land is affected by salinity. In Iran, 15 million hectare land is total cropped area, 6 million hectare is irrigated land, and 39% is area affected by the salinity. 1.7% million hectare, and 30% is the saline affected area. Likewise, in Thailand, 20% is the total million hectare, 20 million hectare is the total cropped area, 4 million hectare is the area irrigated, 20% it makes 20% of the irrigated area, and 10% is the salt affected land. In Egypt, 3 million hectare is the area under cultivation. Area under irrigation is 3. It makes 100%, means they do not have other land resources other than irrigated area. 0.19% is saline affected, and it makes 33%. In Australia, 47 million hectare is cropped area, 2 million hectare is irrigated, 4% is the area under cultivation, which is under irrigated area, and it has 9% of that area saline. Argentina, 36 million hectare land, and they have 2 million hectare irrigated area, 5% is the irrigation, zero point 0.6 million hectare, and then it makes 34% of the saline side. South Africa, it has 13 million hectare cropped area, 1 million hectare is irrigated land, 9% it makes 9% of the total cropped area, and 9% soil is there 9% of the total cropped area, 9% soil is saline. And we can say that if we subtotal all these values, we can say that throughout the world, nearly 20% of the cropped area is saline. The effects of salinity on plants: salt in the soil water may inhibit plant growth for two reasons: osmotic component of the salinity, specific ion toxicity, nutrient imbalance, reactive oxygen species, oxidative damage, impaired photosynthesis, poor plant water relations, hormonal imbalance. Osmotic component of the salinity, these are the factors that in this factor plant face physiological drought. In physiological drought, soil contains higher amount of the salt, and it becomes low in water potential, whereas plants contain minimal amount of the salts, and they are high in water potential. And we know that water moves from higher concentration to lower concentration, and this is the process adopted by the plants for the uptake of the water. However, due to the higher amount of the salt present in the soil, the water potential of the soil becomes lower than the plants, and plants are unable to uptake the water despite the availability of the water. So we can say that plants face physiological drought. Physiological drought is defined as the condition in which plants are unable to uptake the amount of the water which is available in the soil due to the presence of high amount of the salts. So consequently, plants loses its turgor potential, which is essential for its survival and yield production. Next is specific ion toxicity. Specific ion toxicity is the uptake of toxic ion that includes sodium, chloride, sulfate, carbonate, bicarbonate in the transpiration stream to a level which becomes toxic for the plants. These specific ions, they produce injury in the cell membranes and impair their membrane potential to perform their necessary function. So this consequently the important processes like photosynthesis, like respiration process, chloroplast and mitochondria, they are all affected because of the specific ion toxicity. Next is nutrient imbalance. Soils containing high amount of the salts, they produce nutrient imbalance. the uptake of the essential nutrients like potassium, like calcium, like magnesium, it becomes minimal in the plants which are growing under the conditions under in the soil with high amount or elevated amount of the salts. Next is the reactive oxygen species production. Plants growing under saline conditions, they face the scenario of higher production of reactive oxygen species. These reactive oxygen species include superoxide radicals, hydroxyl radicals, H2 hydroxyl radicals, hydrogen peroxide, singlet oxygen. These reactive oxygen species, they are highly reactive in nature because they do not contain they have incomplete last shell. So they tend to complete their electronic configuration. For this reason, they tend to react with every molecule which they encounter. This may be carbohydrate, this may be proteins, this may be lipids, nucleic acids, photosynthetic pigments like chlorophyll molecules. So they are damaging every biomolecule which is encountered by them. So reactive oxygen species, we can say we have seen that they have the potential to damage the membrane. They have the potential to damage the lipids, and since membranes are lipid bilayer, so they consequently they damage the membranes. This is referred to as the oxidative damage. So oxidative damage, how oxidative damage is measured? There are number of oxidative markers that are utilized by the plant researchers as an indicative of the degree of this oxidative damage. First one is the electrolyte leakage that measures the ability of the membranes whether it retains its potential of permeability or not. And second one is the lipid peroxidation. Lipid peroxidation is measured by the production of the MDA. MDA is the malondialdehyde content, and it is not an antioxidant, which is often assumed by most of the students. It is the byproduct of membrane damage due to the oxidative damage, or we can say that it is the byproduct of the lipid peroxidation, and consequently we measure this by cellular level of the byproduct MDA. The higher the level of the MDA, the higher the damage to the membrane. Next is the impaired photosynthesis. We can see that photosynthesis is the primary process on which plants rely for their biomass production and yield ability. They impair the photosynthesis. The salinity stress impair photosynthesis. Plants grown under the saline conditions, they have poor water relations. Hormonal imbalance is also disturbed. Germination is the first process. More salinity stress causes a significant delay in the germination. If we see this diagram, we can see that lower salinity level cause when the salinity level in the growth medium was minimal, plants germinate early, seeds germinate early. Whereas moderate salinity level causes further delay in the germination, and high salinity level causes the most delay in the germination, and the rate of the germination was also decreased alongside their percentage. So yeah, it is this is the graph that indicates how the germination is affected from the concentration of low salinity to medium and high salinity in the growth medium. Next is growth. One of the initial effects of the salt stress is the reduction of the growth rate. Salt in soil water inhibits plant growth for two reasons. First is the osmotic component, which we have already discussed briefly. We can say that it reduces the plant's ability to take up water, and this leads to slower growth rate. This is the osmotic or the water deficit effect of the salinity. Second, it may enter the transpiration stream and eventually injure the cells in the transpiration, and this is the specific ion toxicity effect that we have already explained. So the first effect of the salinity is the inhibition in the growth. So we can see that this is the shoot growth rate. This is the first phase. First phase is the osmotic phase. Two phase growth response of the salinity. Salinity proposes two phase growth response of the plants. First one is the osmotic phase, in which plants are unable to take up the necessary amount of water, which is essential for the plant survival and yield production. And then plants enters the second phase, which is the phase in which plants because plant is forced to uptake the amount of the water which is available, whether it is rich in essential nutrients or it is rich in toxic nutrients. In case of the saline soils, it is rich in toxic nutrients, and plants are forced to uptake that amount of the water which is rich in toxic salts. So the uptake of this kind of water creates a specific kind of toxicity. So facing these scenarios, tolerant plants, they show a stable growth rate after some time in the second phase particularly. However, the plants which are sensitive, they show both tolerant and sensitive plants, they show fall in growth or drop in growth in the first phase. However, the tolerant plants become stable during the second phase of the salinity, which is the specific ion toxicity. However, the plants which are salinity sensitive, they suffer the more significant drop in their growth as a result of salt specific ion toxicity. Salinity tolerance mechanism. There are a number of salinity tolerance mechanisms. First of all, when the amount of the water is available in the soil becomes minimal or it is depleted due to the presence of the high amount of the salts, plants tend to accumulate a number of organic compounds and inorganic ions in the cytosol that makes its water potential or that and plant pretends to have minimal water potential inside the plant as compared to the soil, and in this way they become able to uptake the water. So the accumulation, this accumulation of organic compounds and inorganic compounds, the organic compounds include polyol, poroline, betaine, trehalose, nicotine, and inorganic ions. These ions and organic accumulations, this process is known as osmotic adjustment, and in this process plants are able to survive as much as it could by observing osmotic adjustment. And however, when it comes the stage of specific kind toxicity, plants are unable to face, particularly the salinity sensitive plants. However, salt tolerant plants, they are able to compartmentalize the salinity. How salinity tolerant plants survive the second phase. Tolerant plants, they also uptake the toxic amount of the salts. However, these toxic amounts of the salts, they are compartmentalized into the vacuoles, and they are not free in the cytosol, and they do not come in contact with the cell organelles. Photosynthetic pigments. Photosynthetic pigments are important components that directly affect the process of the photosynthesis. We can see that salinity, the most damaging factor of the salinity is the degradation of the photosynthetic pigments. Degradation of the photosynthetic pigment mainly comes from the overproduction of the reactive oxygen species. As we have already discussed, that reactive oxygen species are rich in their electronic they have incomplete electronic configuration that makes them to react with every molecule they encounter, and that also includes the photosynthetic pigments. However, the photosynthetic pigment degradation directly reduces the process of the photosynthesis. Under salinity stress, there are two reasons of the photosynthetic pigment degradation or the chlorophyll degradation. First one is the enhanced activity of chlorophyllase. Under stress condition, the activity of the chlorophyllase is increased. Where this chlorophyllase is an enzyme that degrades chlorophyll. And second reason is the minimal biosynthesis of or minimal de novo synthesis. Means the new synthesis of the chlorophyll molecule is minimal. The reduction in the photosynthetic rate in plants under stress is mainly due to the reduction in water potential. As we say, this is the osmotic component of the salinity. Photosynthesis is also inhibited when high concentration of the sodium and chloride are accumulated in the chloroplast, and chlorophyll, being important content of the photosynthesis, directly correlates to the health of the plant. Next is the we can measure the chlorophyll photosynthetic rate of the plant by using the instrument infrared gas analyzer, and likewise we also measure the chlorophyll fluorescence. Plants have two photosystem, photosystem 1 and 2. Among the two photosystems, photosystem among these two photosystems, photosystem 2 is more sensitive to the salinity damages compared with the photosystem 1. Considerable decrease in the efficiency of the photosystem 2 electron transport rate and net carbon dioxide assimilation rate is observed in plants grown under salinity stress. Water relation plants grown under salinity stress, they show significant drop in water potential, and consequently plants lose their turgor, which is essential for their survival. Here we can see that here we can see that these plant under salinity stress, it sends the signaling to the genome by which the sodium exclusion process is activated, in which plants extrude the toxic sides of sodium out of the cell, or compartmentalize the sodium into the vacuoles. Then the proteomic and transcriptomics, then the salt stress irrigation with the salinity stress plants undergo are the phase two components: osmotic stress and ionic stress. This is the two phase plant response to the salinity. Tolerant plants, they are only sensitive to the osmotic component, and they become tolerant to the ionic stress. However, the sensitive plants, they continue to show drop in their growth even in the second phase of the salinity. So conclusion, plants are highly sensitive to salinity stress. Salinity inhibits plant growth and development. Salinity stress inhibits photosynthesis and impedes chlorophyll fluorescence. Salinity stress impairs plant water relation. Osmotic component of salinity impairs plant potential to uptake water. Salinity produces nutrient imbalance, and combination of all these factors impacts plant growth and productivity. Therefore, essential measures are quick measures are needed to decrease, or at least to counteract the negative effect of the salinity faced by the plants. Thank you so much.